we have a bunch of questions actually when we speak about sexual energy and spirituality. And yeah, really, how to transform sexual energy? Who is wishing to transform? What does it mean, sexual energy? And I think one more question is, we have to admit that quite many spiritual practitioners are afraid to speak and to discuss it openly. Let us say a few words that, okay, historically speaking, our global human culture, okay, normally we divide it like Western culture and Oriental one. And that was like centuries and centuries ago, and that's happened even right now. The difference is that in Oriental countries they have taboo about all that questions, and in Western culture people easily may discuss that even on TV, you know, openly, like even if you visit different colleges or schools, even teenagers or young people may easily discuss it, like all questions, doubts, problems. And Oriental society, normally they afraid even to mention about it. And of course, when we speak about Oriental culture, we have to be clear that there is no any actually Oriental culture, but there are many kinds of Oriental cultures. And if you speak about Arabian world or Indian society, then for sure it's taboo to speak openly about sexual questions. But for China and Japan, it's absolutely easy to discuss and speak about all that things, and actually family life in the aspect of sex, quite physically and biologically, it's a part of even spiritual tradition for China and Japan. So it means different parts of Oriental world, they have a different approach to that. And when we speak about European culture, of course, the greatest root of the European culture is Greece. And then the second one is ancient Rome. And in both of that ancient cultures, whatever connected with the sex was freely discussed, and you know, all that statures of beautiful naked men and women, you know, all gods, essentially half naked or just naked, and all discussion about different sexual orientations even, and you know, all the problem and pressure about and around all that different sexual orientation even happened because of actually biblical tradition. And before biblical time in Europe, it was like kind of absolute freedom, and all ancient philosophers, they could be like this or that way or both, for example. So, and it means when we speak about, okay, let us discuss a question about sexual life in all aspects. And then, generally speaking, Western culture is very open. Oriental culture, if we'll speak about like India or Arabian world, it's not possible to discuss it. But when we move to the spirituality, to the field of spirituality, then surprise, surprise, even Westerners normally afraid to discuss questions about like sexual life, even Westerners. Why? Because of many reasons, like, okay, we may like it or not, we may even deny it, but of course, you know, a couple of thousands of years of Christian history is huge and powerful. And the Roman Catholic Church and Protestant Church and Orthodox Church, they're all basically quite strict about all that, and especially so-called traditional Christianity, which is, okay, Roman Catholic and Greek Orthodox Christianity. Both of them actually preach that, okay, if you want to be saint, you have to be monk or nun. And then most of the saints are monks and nuns. And if we'll speak about, for example, Russian Orthodox Church, yeah, there are family saints, but you know, it's like, okay, 1%, but 99 anyway, monks and nuns. Okay, that background is very powerful. Even if we'll speak about, okay, 20th century, 21st century, and the modern Western people, they say, okay, nothing to do with Christianity, we are going to practice Vedanta, meditation, and Buddhism. But who cares, you know? All your generations before you, like, were part of all that conditioning, religious conditioning, and it means if you say that you are practicing Buddhist or Tantric or Vedic meditation, you know, Vipassana, Kriya Yoga, anyway, you have this subconscious programming that you have to be kind of free from sexual life at all, because, like, you know, you're a saint. Because everyone wants to be cool, sane, spiritually advanced, you know, nobody wish to be good for nothing. And actually, if we take Buddhist tradition, conditioning is basically the same, because most of the Buddhist okay, masters and the teachers and the saints are monks and nuns. And even if you take life of Buddha, okay, he was a family person, but then he became a monk, and his son Rahula became monk, and his wife and his aunt, you know, like, it's looked like all his family became his disciples, and not just disciples, but monks and nuns. So it means, okay, in a Hindu tradition, it's slightly more flexible actually, but at the same time Shankaracharya was monk, Ramakrishna was monk, Ramana Maharshi was, okay, kind of monk, not really, but anyway, he was beyond family life. So it means a lot of pictures of saints who are really far away from any kind of family life, including like just quite physical, biological sex. And because for centuries we as a society, we as a culture created this picture of saints, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, you know, then we have to follow it. I mean, of course, no, I'm joking, because our subconscious mind is programming, and if somebody starting to practice meditation, and you know, anyway, that programming put this person, all of us actually, in a position when, okay, if we are successful meditation practitioners, we must be beyond even this discussion, because it's like, you know, far away from us. We are contemplating absolute consciousness, and that's all. And I may say that people who came from the Jewish background or Muslim background, I mean, that's much better actually, because in the Jewish and Islamic tradition, not so great picture of the saints who are monks and nuns. Because in the Jewish and Muslim tradition, even great mystics, they are essentially, okay, basically family people. And so it means maybe it's much easier to discuss for that kind of people, but at the same time, when I speak with the Jewish or Muslim people, okay, in Russia we have a lot of both Muslim and the Jewish people, they also have their own kinds of taboo, you know. Maybe they don't have this picture of monks and nuns, but they have even more strong, like, family taboo, which is also an obstacle to speak about all that openly. So that's the reason why I think that it is extremely important to be free from all that, and to be natural, to be open, and to discuss these questions. And I may say that, sometimes in my workshops and like seminars, I'm forgetting to speak about sexual energy, and that's very bad. Sometimes people ask me this question, and sometimes they afraid to ask this question. And you know, my experience as the meditation and the yoga teacher is that we must, it's not a choice, it's a must to discuss these questions, because when I see like 50 or maybe 100 people in front of me, and I know that for most of them this question is huge and they're just afraid to discuss it. And that's absolutely natural. And it means if we'll just to avoid this discussion, what is the result? Very unfortunate. We just people just don't know what to do with the sexual energy. They just feel sinful. They think that maybe I'm only the person in this meditation hall who is experiencing like this type of questions. Maybe I'm a sinner, maybe all people are next are all saints, and so this inferiority, complex of inferiority, feeling that I'm a sinner, and after all it's so powerful energy, sexual, that there's no chance to press it. Actually, it is necessary to discuss and then to transform.